Good morning, everyone. My name is Mirari, and I am thrilled to be here today with you, live streaming from Mystic Fitness. Today, I'm going to be walking you through a variation of a Baptiste Power Yoga sequence. So I am very excited. As we settle in, grab a block or something that can work as a block, like a book, for support in some of the poses, a strap if you have one, but you don't need one of these. You can have a small towel or maybe a sock. So grab your things, grab some water, have your things around yourself so that you can be comfortable, and we will practice for close to an hour. And as you gather your things and settle in and trickle in, I want to remind everyone, or for those of you who are tuning in for the first time, about these. These are some really beautiful, nice cloth masks that Mary Beth, one of our instructors here at Mystic, is doing. And they are very comfortable. She's making these, and they are available in small quantities through Mystic. We're happy to receive donations through Venmo or contact directly Mystic to get a few of these. They're washable, comfortable, and they're beautiful. So thank you, Mary Beth. All right, now that we have all of our things ready, let's get started in child's pose. So knees wide, maybe as wide as your mat, toes on the back, touch or close together, and let your head hang heavy. If it doesn't quite reach, you can grab a block and let your head rest. Stretch your arms in front of you and take a couple of deep breaths. As you stretch your arms to the front of your mat, push your tailbone to the back of the room. Take a little stretch for a moment. Take your arms to the right corner of your mat. Come back to center. Take your hands to the left. Come back to center. Breathe in through your nose, out through your nose, and if out through your nose doesn't work, use your mouth. Whatever works for you. The goal is to be comfortable and safe through these poses. Slowly make your way into downward facing dog. So be intentional in creating the physical foundation of your pose. So in downward facing dog, we have our feet to become really aware and pay attention to for our practice. Our palms are pushing against the mat, and pedal your feet. Find comfort in downward facing dog, as we are going to be doing lots of these. Child's pose is always available to you to come to if you're feeling fatigued or just need to take a break. Come back. Know that child's pose is always available throughout the practice. Take up some space and explore your balance and foundation in downward facing dog. Take a couple of breaths, deep breaths. Relax your neck. Walk to the front of your mat. We start with a flat back. So in order to do this, you can bend your knees a little bit. Your hands can be on the mat or on your shins. We're aiming for a flat back. Take your gaze to the front, a little bit forward from the front of your mat to stretch your neck, no wrinkles on your neck. Bow forward. Stretch your arms up to the ceiling. Take a deep breath in. Bring your hands to heart center. Toes touch, heels slightly separated. We start our practice with 1-0. Deep breath in. Stretch your arms up to the ceiling. Bow forward. Flat back. High plank. So high plank can be with legs up or knees up or down. On high plank, we want to be aware that we're not bringing our bottom up way too much, way too low. We want to straight back with knees down and feet curled up. It may look like this. Then we come down to a low plank or cobra. Upward facing dog. Create space between your shoulders and your ears. The tops of the feet are pressing on the mat. Come back to downward facing dog. Breathe in and breathe out. Walk to the front of your mat. Halfway up. Bow forward. Stretch your arms up to the ceiling. Take a deep breath in. Bow forward. Flat back. High to low plank. Knees up or down. You can do cobra as well. Upward facing dog or cobra. And downward facing dog. All right. Do sun salutations to get our practice started. Take a few breaths in downward facing dog. Pedal your feet. Walk to the front of your mat. Halfway up. Bow forward. Chair pose. Bow forward. Halfway up. High to low plank. Upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. Bring your right foot forward for warrior one. Lift your arms up to the ceiling so your front leg is on a 90-degree, bent on a 90-degree angle. Front foot on 12 o'clock. Your back foot is slightly tilted. You can see on your camera for a moment. If you don't have a comfortable view of your camera and I direct you to the camera, be mindful and careful. Sometimes I twist my neck and I have to be very mindful of not hurting myself. So my back foot is slightly tilted, arms up, hips square. So in squaring your hips, you can use your hands on your hips and you might have to tweak it a little bit to find that square hips. We always want neutral hips. So a couple of breaths in, breathe out, back to high plank, low plank, upward facing dog, downward facing dog, left foot forward, warrior one on the left. Take a moment to explore the space, and we'll take a little bit on this first round look up, deep breath in. As you breathe out, come to high plank, low plank, upward facing dog, and downward facing dog. Breathe in, breathe out. Walk to the front of your mat, halfway up, bow forward. Chair pose, sit low, bow forward. Halfway up, high to low plank. Upward facing dog or cobra, downward facing dog. Right foot forward, warrior one. Lift your arms up to the ceiling. Breathe in, look up, come down to high plank. Low plank, upward facing dog, downward facing dog. Left foot forward, warrior one. Reach your arms up to the ceiling. Breathe in, look up, low plank. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog. Breathe in and breathe out. All right, we're waking up the body. And in Baptiste-Power Yoga, there are lots of transitions. And coming into the pose is as important as coming out of the pose. So let's bring some awareness. Bring your feet close together. Bring your feet together on the back of your mat. Lift your right leg up to the sky. Bend your upper knee and stack your hips. Bring your upper leg to the left side of the room. Breathe in. Stay here or flip your dog. If you're going to flip your dog, be extremely careful. You can bend your grounded leg as you turn to the left. Bend knees and lift your hips if you're upside down. Come back carefully as you bend your knees to high plank and now go to side plank on the right. Turn around so that you have this visual. You can do side plank with your knee up or down. Your right hand is supporting you on the floor. And you can stay here. This is a good opening. Bring your left arm up. Your left hand is really active, so spread those fingers. And if you want to bring your left leg up, you can do that as well. Engage your abdominal muscles. Flex your upper foot. Look up. High to low plank. Upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. Bring your feet together. Now bring your left foot up to the sky. Bend your knees, stack your hips, bring your left foot, flex your upper foot, and take it to the left side of the room. Stay here or flip your dog. Carefully. We're upside down, as the world may seem right now. All right, let's come back to high plank. Now, side plank on the left. If you have your knee up on side plank, lift from your hips. If you want to go wild, you can lift your top leg as well. And a slight smile is even better. Your hand is reaching up to the sky and it's really engaged. All right, come back to low plank, upward facing dog, and downward facing dog. Good. We're going into the part of the sequence that is called vitality. So, feeling some vitality in our bodies. We all meet on downward facing dog. And let's bring our right foot to the front of the mat for Crescent Lunge. So our feet are parallel, front and back foot. Back heel is lifted. Bring our arms up to the ceiling, front leg on a 90-degree angle. This is another one we can do with back leg lifted, or slowly you can bring your knee down. Bring your arms up to the ceiling, create some space between your shoulders and your ears. Right, twisting crescent lunge. Bring your hands to heart center and twist. Hook your left arm outside of your knee and keep the prayer hands and aim your thumbs to the center of your chest. The action here is that the upper body pushes to the front of the room and your back heel pushes to the back of the room. So there are opposing forces. Take your gaze up or to a point that brings you balance. If you're a little wobbly, you can play a little bit with the space between your feet until your foundation is strong. Foundation is key. All right, let's open up to warrior two. Swivel your back foot to go into warrior two. Stretch your arms to your side. Keeps neutral. Front leg on a 90-degree angle. Extended side angle, bring your right forearm on top of your right thigh and take your left arm up to the sky. Stretch your upper arm to the front of the room. Stretch, stretch, stretch. And low plank. Upward facing dog or cobra. Downward facing dog. Crescent lunge on the left. So foundation, are you wobbly? The wobbly is not bad, and the wobbly happens. One of my teachers says, when the wobble starts, that's where the pose begins. So the wobble's good, but if you can gain a little more stability, that's the goal. Okay, so you may have to bring your feet a little bit wider, and back heel is lifted, or you can bring your knee down, arms up. We twist to the left. You can extend your arms if you'd like. One more breath in. Open up to warrior two. So hands are active. Lift your toes from your mat and stretch them apart and then bring them back into the mat. That really brings awareness to muscles in our legs to become engaged. All right. Extended side angle. Forearm to your left thigh and right arm reaching to the sky and reaching to the front of the room. Keep that front leg on a 90-degree angle. All right. Come down to low plank. Upward facing dog. Good stretch and downward facing dog. Walk to the front of your mat. Sit back into your chair. Let's twist now our chair to the right. So bring your hands to heart center. Twist to the right. So if you look for a moment carefully to the screen, you're going to see that my legs start getting pretty asymmetrical here. So the goal is to keep the legs straight and aligned, parallel to one another. And the twist comes really from our upper body, from our core, okay? It's not really that much of an arm twist. It's a twist coming from the core. As we breathe in, we stretch our head to the front of the room, our tailbone to the back of the room. And as we breathe out, we twist to the right. You can open your arms if you would like. All right, bow forward. Bring your feet, keep with distance apart. Take your peace fingers and wrap them around your big toes. Flat back, bow forward. Let your head hang heavy and take your elbows to the sides. You can take a look at your navel, a little navel gazing. Slowly stretch your legs. They don't have to come all the way straight. You may want to put a little more weight on the toes. All right, let go of the toes carefully. Place your hands on the mat. Bring your feet together. Stretch up. Come back to chair. Let's twist to the other side. If you did the left and you do the right, I'm on the left here. As I twist, I really try to keep my knees. So take a look at your knees and try to keep them straight, aligned with each other. Your thighs are parallel. And lift your toes. Let's do that again. Lift your toes for a moment and feel the engagement of the legs, the engagement of your abdominal muscles. Stretch your toes and then place them back on the mat. All right. Open your arms if that feels good. You can also use a block to bring the floor up a little bit. That makes it more accessible to you. Bow forward. Bring your feet hip width distance apart. And now, gorilla pose. So slide your palms underneath your feet. Flat back, bow forward. Relax your jaw. And play with the weight. What happens if you carefully put more weight in the front of the foot? Maybe you feel you're going a little bit forward. And then what happens when you put some more weight on your heels? This is some inquiry and bringing emphasis and attention to the foundation of the pose. Right now, mostly on our feet, but also our hands. So what happens when you try to push with your palms against your feet? What happens? One more breath in, breath out. Slide your palms off, away from your feet. Feet together. Stretch up. Take a big breath in. And bow forward. Come back to high plank, low plank, upward facing dog, and downward facing dog. Are you feeling good? Generating some heat. That's the idea. Walk to the front of your mat. Stretch up. Bend your knees if we're coming to chair, but now we're going into eagle. So balance on your left leg. Bring your right leg up on top of your left leg. Bring your right arm underneath your left arm. Sit on your chair. I'm gonna give you a different view to bring up a couple of things. You don't have to wrap your toes around your calf if that's not accessible. Also, if the twist in your arms is too uncomfortable on your shoulders, you can give yourselves a hug. Spine straight as you sit down on your eagle chair. Stretch up. Bend your knees and eagle on the other side. Balance on your right leg. Bring your left leg on top of your right. Left arm underneath your right. Sit on your chair. You may have to move your hips a little bit to the left to keep that neutral pelvis and square hips. All right, stretch up. Standing leg raise. So we balance on our left leg. Bring our right knee hip width distance apart. And the pose can begin here, or we can take it to another level. Take your peace fingers and write them on your toe and extend your leg. The leg doesn't need to come all the way straight. The most important thing is to keep your spine straight. You can bring your left hand to hold your hips, your waist, open it up. Take your gaze to the left side of the room. So balancing poses in the equanimity sequence. Come back to center. Keep your leg lifted. Bring your arms up to the ceiling. Whether the leg is bent or straight, we go into airplane pose. So we kick our right leg to the back of the room. Slowly, a little bit of upward dog in the upper body. And the back leg is really engaged. So our arms, maybe a little turbulence along the way. If you fall down, come back up. Hips square. Bring your hands to heart center. Half moon. So for half moon, this is one of my favorite poses. You can bring your left hand, and you can come back down if you need to, right? You're going to bring your left hand to the floor or a block. Foundation. Your left foot is on 12 o'clock. You can bring your right leg up again to the sky. Start with your right arm on your waist. And slowly bring your right leg up to the sky. And if you feel, it's got a little messy. If you feel stable, you can bend your standing leg a little bit. Bring your right arm up to the ceiling. Come back down to the ground. Bow forward. Let your head hang heavy. Halfway up, high to low plank. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog. Walk to the front of your mat. Stretch your arms up to the ceiling. Standing leg raise on the left. So place your hands on your waist, balance on your right leg. Bring your left knee to hip height. Stay here or extend the leg to the front. Open it up. Gaze to the right. Come back to center. Keep your leg up. Take it to airplane. Keep breathing. Hands to heart center. Half moon on the left. Flex your lifted foot. Stretch your fingers. And bow forward. Let's take a ragdoll. So take your feet hip width distance apart, grab your elbows, and let your head hang heavy. You can take a sip of water if you need. Come back to child's pose. Actually, let's take child's pose. reconnect with our breath. Coming back to that idea of grounding, feeling grounded. So what's touching the mat right now, and becoming aware of these points of contact. All right. Come back to downward facing dog. Walk to the front of the mat. Stretch your arms up to the ceiling. Tree pose. Balance on your left leg and bring your foot to the inside of your standing leg. Foot is above or below the knee, not on the knee, just above or below, whatever feels better in terms of balance and comfort. And then the action, once you find that point of contact, is that your standing leg is pushing against the foot and the foot is pushing against the leg. So that's where the action and engagement is. Standing foot on 12 o'clock. Bring your hands to heart center. Hips are level. Bring your arms to the sky and explore changing the gaze, perhaps from a point in front of you to the ceiling or the sky, to the right, to the left. Create some space between your shoulders and your ears. Bring your hands to heart center, upper foot to the mat. Bring your left foot up to tree. You can use your hand. I always use my hand to bring my foot to my other leg. You can flex your foot to create that action. Flex your upper foot and ground the foot on the mat. Just ground those toes, spread those toes against the mat. Bring your hands to heart center. Your arms up and again explore. Practice some inquiry with your gaze. What happens with the balance? If you fall, come back up. Bring your hands to heart center. Bring your upper foot to the mat. Stretch your arms up to the ceiling. Take a deep breath in. Bow forward. Flat back. High plank. And slowly we take it down to the mat. All right. Let gravity just do the work for you right now. Bring your hands to your sides. Rest one cheek on one side and just let it go. Switch to the other cheek. Bring your forehead to the mat for locust. So you can clasp your hands without stressing your wrists in the back, on your back, or you can use, I'm going to use a sock since I have it over here, and use it so that I can bring my arms to stretch towards the back of the room. So bring your arms and your legs, everything, pull into center, engage your muscles, pull into center, press down to the mat, come up, lift your upper body, legs, stretch your head towards the front of the room, your feet towards the back of the room, come back down to the mat. Bring your forehead back to the mat. Let's do floor bow. You can start with one leg first or do both legs at a time. So for bow, you're going to bring your hands outside of your feet and grab your ankles or your shins on the back of the mat. I will demonstrate with 2 legs at a time, but you can do 1 at a time. So to get started, we need to create or reestablish some integration. And what does that mean? That means that we're going to flex our feet. We're going to bring our thighs together, engage our abdominal muscles, bring our arms, pulling them into center line. And once we have that, that's integration. We pull into the center line, we push down into the mat to lift forward. And the main action is coming from our shins. Our shins are pushing to the back of the room. Our hearts open. Pick a point in front of you. Flex your feet. Come back down to the mat. Let it go. Rest your body, full body on the mat. Upward facing dog or cobra. Downward facing dog. Bring your knees to the mat. And let's come down into tree pose. Tree pose, no, bridge pose. This is a break that is not supposed to happen, but I forgot to bring my phone, so sorry about that, Amy, for the timings. Because this could happen in real life and it would be just fine, right? In real life. This is real life. All right, let's do bridge pose. So let's go into our backs. So for bridge pose, we bend our knees, feet are on 12 o'clock. The tips of their fingers can touch the back of our heels. And again, that integration. We pull our thighs into the center line. Bring our hands, our arms to the side. We bring our hips up to the sky. Come back down to the ground. Bridge pose. As we bring everything into the center line and engage your thighs, the main action is coming from our legs to release the lower back. So once our thighs, our feet are grounded, our arms are also really pressing on the mat. Press down, come up. If it's available to you, only if it's available, you can shimmy your shoulders and clasp your hands. Come back down to the mat. You can do another one of these, or if you're up for it, if it is safe practice, if it's in your practice, I'm going to walk you through full wheel pose. If this is not in your practice, do another bridge as we come up into wheel. Okay, you can actually do a couple more. So for full wheel, reset our feet on 12 o'clock. Bring our hands to the outside of our shoulders. Integration, again, we work on that integration. So we pull our thighs into the center line and the elbows into the center line. As we feel this integration, we pull into the center line, press our body down to the mat to come up into wheel pose. Very, very carefully. For 3, 2, 1, slowly, as carefully as you can, and you come down, pressing into center line. Breathe in, breathe out. Supta Baddha Konasana. Bring the soles of your feet together. Bring your hands, one to your heart, the other one to your belly. Feel your heart rate. Where is your breath? You can take happy baby. Grab your ankles, your feet or your ankles from the outside. With your hands, flex your feet and pull your lumbar spine against. So press your lower back against the mat to do some massage. You can go side by side. Take a few breaths here. Right. Your legs up to the sky, stretch them up. We're going to do a few abs here. This is the abs session, so I know you couldn't wait for this. Actually, maybe that is the case, but however we feel about abs, whether we really, really wanted to do them or not, let's just do them. It's what we have in front of us. So stretch your legs. And what we're going to do to reconnect with the engagement of the legs is that we're going to point our toes first, like ballerina toes. So you really point them, feel your shins, and then you're going to curl your toes towards your face. Really keep those legs engaged. You can have a little bend. Bring your arms to crater your head. Keep the elbows open and lift your shoulders from the floor. This is your new floor. So from here, you're going to pulse up. And so the idea is that the exhalation coincides with the pulsing up. For 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Keep going. Keep the shoulders away from the floor and really engage those abdominal muscles. Elbows open and really work those abdominal muscles. For a few more seconds. I got your back with the time. I'm going to go 10 more with you. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bring your arms to the sides. Bring your shoulders back to the mat. Keep your legs up where they are. Engage still. Bring your legs slowly down 30% towards your mat. You can keep your arms on the side, or you can create a little shelf with your arms. Another 30% down. Hover about 2 inches from the mat. Got a bookshelf that is preventing me from going all the way there. Come back up. Let's do this again. Bring your legs 30%. Another 30%. Hover 2 inches from the mat. Your legs back up. Bring your knees to your chest. Give yourselves a hug. All right, let's come into a variation of boat pose. You know, boat. We can actually start by sitting here on our mats, right? And we can bring our hands behind our knees and tilt back. Bring your shins so that they are parallel with the floor. Flex your feet. Spine straight. And then we're going to do some cherry picking. So with our hands, we're going to pick some cherries on the right and some cherries on the left. Some cherries on the right, some cherries on the left. Keep going. You can stop in the center to deposit your cherries. All right. Flex your feet. A few more. Side by side. Bring your legs together. They tend to separate. All right. Bring your feet to the mat. Let's come back to downward facing dog. Half pigeon on the right. So bring your right leg to the front. In half pigeon, it is important to keep your front leg in line with the front of your mat at all possible. Flex your front foot to protect your knee. And your back leg is engaged. The top of your foot is on the mat, resting. Like this. Okay, so the back of the foot, top of the foot presses against the mat. So once you have this engagement in the legs in this pose, there's really full engagement of the legs of the lower body, and your upper body just hangs as relaxed as it can be. If your head reaches the mat, you just let go of your upper body. So there is this balance between effort and ease, engagement of the legs and lower body, and we just let go with the upper body for a few breaths. If half pigeon is something that doesn't work for you, the modification is figure 4. So if you're in half pigeon, just hang in there for a little bit. Figure 4, you start sitting as we were before, right? With your hands supporting you on your back. Bring your right leg on top of your left one. Flex. So this is very similar to what we just did. Flex your upper foot, and you can bring a little bit more intensity by walking your hands and your full body to your front foot. And this is it. This is figure 4. These are hip openers. Okay, so this is the variation for half pigeon. Take a full breath in, breath out. And if you're on figure 4, switch your legs carefully. You can actually play with this proximity of the body, front or back. If you're in half pigeon, back to downward facing dog, half pigeon on the left side. So half pigeon on the left. I'll join you here. Flex your front foot. This is really, really important to protect the knees. Press your back foot, top of your back foot against the mat. Bring your body down. If your left hip is lifted, you can bring sometimes a block. This type of block may be too big. You can bring a cushion or some sort of prop to bring the floor up and then build your foundation. It's really important to have a solid foundation. And then we can really let go of the upper body. Engage those legs. Sometimes I like to bring my hand to remind me that I have to flex this foot. I bring my hand and try to press my foot against the hand to regain that engagement. Few breaths here. Slowly make your way into downward facing dog. You can pedal your feet. Bring your knees to the mat. Swing your feet to the front of your mat. Let's do this is awesome. The seated forward fold. We start with our legs slightly bent. Take our hands to the side of our feet. Chest as close as you can get to your thighs. I like to sometimes use a block here to hold. And slowly you can start stretching your legs. You don't have to bring them all the way straight. Engage your legs, flex the feet. Relax your neck, relax your jaw. And let go of the feet. We can do an inversion. I'm going to walk you through waterfall, which is one of my favorite, most relaxing poses. If you have a wall available, I don't around here, but if you have a wall available, we have a mystic, so we'll do the mystic. Come close to a wall, or if you don't have a wall, just bring a block or a book. Lay down on your back, bend your knees, lift your hips to place the block comfortably on your lower back, and bring your arms up to the sky. If you have a wall against your legs, again, that is a great support, restorative pose. I know Amy's a big fan of bringing the arms up, and I like to do that as well. You can bring your arms up, or you can leave them to the side, palms facing up. Your feet spend so much time standing. This is a pretty good change for them, for us. They are our feet. And you can look at your feet right now and explore, stretch your toes. And that really, again, reconnects with that engagement of the legs. Stretch your toes, try to separate your toes. For me, it's a lot easier to do it with my fingers, right? We do that a lot more than with our toes. All right, slowly bring your legs down. Remove the block from underneath. Take a stretch, so stay on your back. Bring your arms over your head and stretch. Take a big, big stretch. Bring your knees towards your chest, supine twist. Stretch your left leg to the mat. You can keep your knee engaged. And with your left hand, bring your right leg to the right, to the left, gaze to the right. And we twist. Your right knee back to center. Bring your left knee to your chest. Stretch your right leg. Place it on the mat. Press your knee against your chest. Give your knee a kiss. Bring it close to you. Your shoulders are resting on the mat. Take the twist to the other side. Gaze to the left. Come back to center. Take any final pose that maybe you're craving. Maybe a happy baby. Maybe a little bit more of a stretch with both legs to one side or the other side. Bring the soles of your feet together. Splay your knees to the sides. You can stay here or stretch your legs to the front of the room, arms to the side. Get comfortable in your mat now as we prepare for final resting pose, Shavasana. resist the temptation to fidget and move around. So get really comfortable here. Let go of the controlled breath and rest for the next few minutes of our practice. If you find yourself thinking or focusing on your thoughts, pay attention to what's going on around you, the sounds around you. Keep your eyes closed. And really let go. Slowly begin moving your fingers and your toes. Take a big stretch and roll over to your left or your right side. Curl up into a fetal position. Come to a seated position. Keep your eyes closed. Sit comfortably on your mat. Bring your hands to heart center. Let's close our practice with one big Om. Take a deep breath in. Ah. Bring your thumbs to your forehead. Take a deep breath in. And together we say Namaste. Thank you so much for joining us today. It was my pleasure to serve you through this practice. And thank you for joining us every day at 9 a.m. virtual streaming at Mystic Fitness. Thank you for your comments, for all of your support. Please stay connected with one another. Stay connected with us. We are all in this together. And hope to see you tomorrow. Bye-bye. I have to figure out this. So Amy, if you're seeing this, I will be prepared to know where to end this.